Uganda is quite committed to promoting human rights. That means human rights not necessarily the ones that people speak about, but it includes online and offline human rights. When we talk about offline, I think you know what we mean. And then online, much as it is used in the context of a digital language, but we are trying to speak about human rights in general. But however, we must also note that under Article 43 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, we have the general limitations to the enjoyment of human rights and freedoms. And as you read the international instruments, especially Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, you find that they try to highlight a few or some of the limitations that may be imposed on the enjoyment of certain rights, especially freedom of expression or freedom of information.
This report focuses on the legal regulatory frameworks affecting open governance, implementation, ICT usage status, and as well as civil society and usage in terms of civil societies and government, because when you look at open government, there's one thing to have government put in place initiatives or policies. It's another thing the readiness of other stakeholders to use these particular initiatives and policies. How are these different non-state actors using ICTs and how are they engaging in participation online? We based a lot on secondary research, review of ICT policies and other policies in general that are affecting participation, governance, civil rights. We looked at websites, government, civil society, media articles, releases, research on eGov, not mainly from Uganda, but we also looked at research from the UN, the e-government index, ITU statistics, and UNDP and World Bank. They have different scores and that focus on eGov. We also looked at interviews with key informants. We interviewed, we had some, especially on the government initiatives. We had a chat with a NITA representative. I'll quote the NITA report. 88.9% of these MDAs had minimum static information in 2015. 49.1% of the 57 governments that had data as news websites had not been updated. This is a bit worrying. 96.8% of all these MDAs had several accessibility errors, essentially to web browsers and specialized groups of people, that is people with disabilities. We have guidelines for developing government website standards. And so we think that this is something that needs monitoring, needs to look into and have a thorough audit of how different MDAs are using these guidelines, identify the gaps and enforcement. Under e-government, we also looked at enabling of other sectors, like bringing on call them special interest groups. I think that is the word I've been seeing in most of the policies. Special interest groups like women, people with disabilities, the national government portal, which provides access to all eGov portals, government services, access to all the services in a centralized portal. So when you go into that portal, you're able to access different links to different services that the government offers. We have the financial challenges, especially with government. This was an issue that was raised, but it's also an issue that we picked up from a couple of reports, and where many times implementing e-government programs, we rely so much on donor support. Access is still an issue, cost of access. We have huge taxes on ICT.
Why is it that there is very little willingness in the government to embrace these hugely changing technological advances, even when they are available? I think that's a key question in my view.
And then local governments, I think it is important to know how many are now online and what kind of information is there for them, because I've not seen any. Some of the websites They will put for you information and it looks like it's actually there. Like, I want to interest you to go to the Hansard Parliament. You will never access anything on that Hansard. No matter how much you want to download or get the information, you have to walk to Parliament or you have to know somebody inside there to download the Hansard for you. But when you go on their website, it is highlighted properly, Hansard. Then you put 2014. You look for it, click anything, you cannot access it. Again, for purposes of knowing, yes, the websites are there, but they're not updated. Can we have actual statistics that give a person a feel of what it is?
I believe if we are trying to go forward in adopting those international standards, we would have much more information. Citizens will be able to participate much more because they are designed in a way that enable citizens to understand what is happening.
As NITA, we have a directorate called Regulation and Legal Services. It has the Department of Compliance, whereby every year we look at these websites and also the various online presence of government. So we do a compliance check and see what they are doing, and we come up with recommendations.
People need to be able to access information, data, use it for different purposes, not just having PDFs and, I don't know, things that people cannot be able to extract. In terms of this mainly falls mainly under NITA. Work with MDAs to enforce ICT use for citizen engagement. We've seen websites have information not up to date, those that have artist news updates. Your very report, the report from the most recent report on the monitoring, there are shortfalls. So we think it's a good step that NITA is releasing these annual reports on its performance, but we think there's still more effort that needs to be done in that area. And then we also believe that joining the Open Government Partnership will demonstrate willingness and ability to enforce open governance. Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, South Africa are some of these countries that have joined the the OGP Open Government Partnership, and we feel that once there'll be, it was a will to implement this open governance, because you benchmark. We have the Kenya Open Data Initiative. Tanzania has its own challenges, but there's something. South Africa has a lot of e-gov platforms. We can benchmark with that. So there are lots of things that we can copy from.